On this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup, we're reacting to Zack Allen being named to NFL's top 100 list, plus where the Broncos are going to be on this top 100 list around the NFL. We will have those names and where they will be and more. Plus, also last thing here, where is the Broncos' current contention window? We have that discussion tonight. We got a deep dive discussion, the contention window at players all around the NFL, top 100 list, where the Broncos are going to be at, all that, much more. And it all starts next. Welcome into the Denver Bronco Roundup Podcast episode. We weren't here last weekend, of course, for the 4th of July. We went and celebrated with our families and whatnot, but excited to be back with another Denver Bronco Roundup Podcast show for everybody tonight. And also apologize if my mic was a little off in the monologue. That was my fault. I didn't check that. StreamYard has this weird thing with the settings, so I apologize for that. I fixed it before we got too deep into the show. That's what matters. But what matters also is my co-host right next to me, Mr. Jody Moncrief. Jody, glad to be back. Excited to be back for another episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup. How are you doing? How was your 4th of July weekend? And great to see you, my friend.
All good. 4th of July was good. Went camping with the family. Football, I think I seen is like 60-some days away, so excited for that. Excited for training camp to start. Excited to see Bo Nix's video out. The ankle's fine, so we can put that to rest, and all's good.
Yeah, Jody had we had talked about like ideas for the show tonight. Jody's first topic was Bo Nix's video, so we can finally put that to rest. We will be sure to deep dive into that tonight as well and touch up on that a little bit. Definitely worth discussing for all of our fans out there. We got Mr. Ernie Mays. Ernie Mays coming in here, says, go Broncos country only. Think Broncos big, not 31 teams small. Hello, Keith and Trevor and Jody and Kenny. Unfortunately, we have two of us tonight here on the show. Unfortunately, I should say. We have at least two of us here tonight, but definitely missing Keith. Keith will be back, not at a different time. Looking forward to having Keith back whenever he joins us back here. But again, Kenny, you can catch Kenny on Tuesday at the Juice Football Talk Show. Love having those guys part of our shows whenever they can make it. Graham says, Mike's been good so far. Thank you, Graham. Appreciate it. I just know that I just look at the settings and I seen it. I was like, oh, crap, this is going to be bad. So I had to hurry up and change it. Phil McLaughlin comes in here and says, good evening, Rocketman and Judge. What will Waddle have this year in touchdowns, receptions, and yards? Jody, I'll give you that question first and foremost before we get started tonight.
I'll say somewhere in the amount of like 80, 85 catches for like 1,200 yards and 6 to 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll have at least – I think he at least touches 1,000 yards. I think he does. I don't see how – like if he doesn't touch 1,000 yards, you're going to have those people and, oh, well, yeah, maybe this wasn't – the right trade for Denver. Maybe they didn't need a wide receiver. Maybe they didn't need another weapon. And yeah, they need another weapon. Wide receiver, we'll see if Jalen Waddle's going to be that fit or not for this team. But I think he will at least get 1,000 yards. And I say that because you see this with like teams when they have these high paid wide receivers and when they pay a high price for wide receivers, they like to really feed these guys the ball. And so I think with Jalen Waddle, he's going to get fed the ball at some point in time. I think we'll see that stretch. When he does, I don't think that's going to happen at the beginning of the season. I would say mid-season, probably to the later half of the season is where we're really going to see Jalen Waddle and Bo Nix kind of connect and see Jalen Waddle go off. So I think he'll have 1,000 yards. I would say 7 touchdowns, probably 1,000 yards, right around there. 7 touchdowns. I think that this offense definitely wants to get him involved. And reception wise, I think he'll be right. Not necessarily a number in mind for me, but I would say he's going to be, Denver's definitely one of Denver's top 2, uh, wide receivers and reception wise, and tight ends and running backs too. So definitely will be one of Bo Nix's top guy in this offense to throw the ball to. Patrick Wilson comes in here, says, "Aloha, my Broncos brothers. Just got finished listening on my phone home. Stars for you." Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Phil. Also, if you end up sending stars, really appreciate it. I didn't get a chance to exactly see it next to me, so I apologize. But thank you to anybody who's sending stars tonight and showing support for the show. We really appreciate it. Jody, we'll just get into our topics tonight. You've seen NFL top 100 list got this past week had gotten announced. And I believe that they had 100 through was it? I can't remember what exactly 100 through whatever. Each week, I think they end up coming out with a different amount each week. So, but Zack Allen ended up getting put on the NFL's top 100 list. What was your reaction to this, Jody? And were you surprised where the NFL kind of ranks Zack Allen? It seems like he's getting pushed up that 100 list more and more each season that ends up going by.
No, I'm not surprised he's on the 100 list. He's obviously a top 100 player. I'm surprised how low he's ranked. I think people still don't want to give him a lot of credit. I think a lot of people want to go off of what PFF says. PFF has him ranked like the 15th or 16th best defensive lineman, which I don't agree with that. Zack Allen is a top 5 defensive lineman in this league. He led the NFL in pressures last year. He was an all-pro for a reason, so there's plenty of reasons why he should be ranked higher, but it is what it is. It's just an opinion piece. It's just slow time of the year, and it gives us something to talk about. I don't take too much into it. I'm glad Zack Allen's is on this team, and if you go back a few years ago, I can remember the debate, why didn't we just pay a couple more $1 million and keep Draymond Jones? Well, they made the right choice with Zack Allen. That's panned out. That may be, if not their best, one of their 2 best signings since Sean Payton and Jordan Payton have been here. So no complaints with Zack Allen at all. Love that he's getting recognition. Wish he was a little higher, but it is what it is.
And I certainly agree with you as well, Jody. I think he's, over the Sean Payton era here in Denver, since Sean Payton showed up, I should say, he's definitely top of the list when it comes to acquisitions under the Sean Payton era. Got to throw Bo Nix up there, of course, as well, and a couple other names. But Zack Allen's still top of that list as well. I don't think anybody, like when the Broncos signed Zack Allen, I remember I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And then you started kind of seeing, through training camp that season he joined Denver, like, okay, maybe there's something to this guy. Like he's get a chance to break out and get a chance to come into his own. And it's really been an enjoyment to see Zack Allen really come into his own, grow into his own football player here in Denver, and really take off. In Arizona, he was starting to kind of get there, but really when he came to Denver, and credit to Vance Joseph for bringing Zack Allen over to Denver, because without VJ, I don't think Zack Allen comes over to Denver and joins this Broncos unit. So what I will say, him being ranked 73rd on the NFL's top 100 list, I take that with a lot of praise, because last year when the NFL had, released this list, he was ranked 90th on that list. So that's a pretty big jump in a year's time. Like, you're starting to see these players put more recognition in the Zack Allen and what he does. And it's really like, it's not, and I always say this about Zack Allen, it's not just the numbers. Like, forget about like the sacks for a minute. He's not going to put up double-digit sacks. Like, and he's right there, that 10-ish kind of range. Like, he's about ready to get that, 10 sacks, those double-digit sacks. You can't always take this into the whole amount of sacks. It's pressures. It's watching film on these guys. Like, Zack Allen takes on the double teams. He does the dirty work for the defense. He unleashes everybody else, the Nick Bonitos of the world, the Jonathan Coopers of the world. John Franklin Myers, when he was here, I think Zack Allen was a big part of unleashing John Franklin Myers, and the reason why it's one of the reasons why John Franklin Myers got paid the way he did. So Zack Allen just does the dirty work. And I think more people are recognizing that around the league, and it's really exciting to see that the recognition that he's getting over just a year's time, going from 90th to 73rd in a year's time. It's amazing to see that. So congratulations to Zack Allen, and it's an honor to be able to talk about Zack Allen and continue to cover him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad he's on this team. We made the right decision moving on from Draymond Jones to get him. He's a dog. He's a leader of this defense, and don't worry that he's only 30. I think he still has a lot of good years left in the tank. So, yeah, no complaints with Zack Allen at all.
Yeah, 100%. Phil comes in here, says leading into this, and before we continue to move forward, Phil McLaughlin comes in here and says, "Who will lead the team in sacks and how many?" With the 100 stars, Jody, in your opinion, who will lead this team in sacks and how many will they have?
I mean, the easy answer is probably to say Nick Bonito, but I'm going to go. I'm going to give I'm going to give one that's not Nick Bonito. I think Q Robinson leads this team with sacks. I think.
Oh wow.
He pushes 14 to 15 sacks this year. I think Q Robinson's in for a big year. And I've said it, I think there's with new stuff coming out on Jonathan Cooper, it sounds like his trial might get pushed back to 2027 now with these new charges added. So unless a miracle happens, there's no way that I can see him not at least getting 6 games, if not more. I expect this, and I've said this when that first came out, I expect Q Robinson to be the starter over Ellis, and I expect a big year from him, so I'm going to go Q Robinson.
Wow. I mean, that's a bold take from Mr. Jody Moncrief, a guy that really hardly ever see the field this last year. Heck of an athlete, and I agree. I mean, if Jonathan Cooper is released, and certainly sounds like that's kind of the direction Jody's going with here, as if Q Robinson is going to have a double-digit sack kind of season, Jonathan Cooper's likely out the door. I mean, it's like 99.9% chance Jonathan Cooper's probably not here. So that's a bold take, Jody. I think the talent's there eventually. I don't know if he'll reach that next season, even if he's the starter. But definitely, I mean, heck, hey, if Denver has it to where he's a double-digit sack guy, and you found him where you found him, and that's the better you'll be. I'm going to go ahead and say Nick Bonito. I'll take the lazy answer, I guess you could say to that. 14 sacks on the season last year. Led this team in sacks. I just went and said it, like Jonathan Cooper situation. I don't see how Jonathan Cooper could possibly lead this team in sacks with where he's at right now. I think, if he's not a part of training camp, he might be behind the 8 ball a little bit more. Just not being in training camp and not having this kind of whole off the field situation lingering around him could be a distraction. I'm not saying it is, but definitely could be. And then I just said Zack Allen. I mean, he has the dirty work. He does the dirty work. He's he leads his team in pressure. Led this team in pressures last year with 50, and he's going to continue to take on the double teams. Meanwhile, Nick Bonito getting paid the way he's getting paid, I think will unleash Nick Bonito to put up another double-digit sack season. I'm going to predict Nick Bonito will go from 14 sacks to 16 sacks next year, though, and he gets continues to progress in the sack category a little bit more. Phil, great question, and thank you for the stars again. Really appreciate it. Jody, going on to our next topic. Obviously, the NFL top 100 list. I mean, we just wanted to react to Zack Allen getting put on that list, but we haven't yet really heard any more announcements from this list. Again, as the NFL offseason continues to go on leading up to training camp, they'll release more of that top 100 list. I'll ask you this, Jody: what other Broncos will make this list, and where do you think these of those Broncos, where do you think that they should land on this top 100 list?
I think there's 3 that are pretty obvious. I think Pat Surtain, and he'll blend in the top 10. I think that's a pretty obvious one. I think Quinn Miners will land on this list, and he's probably going to be in that 30 range, somewhere in there. And then I think Garrett Bowles is going to make this list, and I think Garrett Bowles may be ahead of Quinn Miners this year. I mean, Garrett Bowles had an incredible season last year, so I think those 3 are locks. I think after that, it's tricky. You might see you probably will see Nick Bonito make this list just because he had double-digit sacks. Other than that, don't think anyone else will make it. I think there are some guys that are going to get snubbed. I think Hufanga should make this list. He probably should have already been on the list. Possibly Cortland Sutton, but I think he'll get snubbed again. But those three for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Cortland Sutton will make the list. I don't think Waddle will. Well, Waddle might make the list actually. And I'll just read kind of some of the players that got mentioned on this top 100 list last year. Garrett Bowles was 98th on that list last year. Zack Allen was 90th on that list last year. Bo Nix was 64. Pat Surtain was top 10. Pat Surtain's the obvious answer here. He'll be top 10 again. I mean, he might even be higher than 10. He was at 10 last year. So I think Pat Surtain might move up the list a little bit, probably 7, 8 or whatnot. Bo Nix, I think, will be up that board, as well. I think Bo Nix probably 40s. I wouldn't be surprised if he touched mid 50s on this top 100 list from the NFL. And again, this is voted on from the player standpoint. So some already high remarks from Bo Nix year one being at 64. I think obviously from what we've seen from Bo Nix last year, leading the Broncos up to the AFC Championship game, I think he'll only climb up the board. And then Garrett Bowles, I mean, I think he'll be probably right around what he was last year. So, for me, I'm going to go Pat Surtain. I'll go 8. Bo Nix, I'll go 55, 54. Zack Allen, I mean, we already know where he's at. Garrett Bowles, probably 94th, I would say. Anybody else? I'll throw Jalen Waddle in there too. I'll say 62 probably in there. I'll throw Waddle in there as a kind of a late addition. So, but all in all, Broncos still well represented on this top 100 list. Could you see Waddle making this list, Jody, over Cortland Sutton?
No, I don't think either probably make the list. I mean,
okay,
Sutton probably should. Actually, Waddle probably should for what he did last year with no one around him. But those are the two that I think will make it for sure. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't think either one of them are going to make it. So, but of the two, I think Sutton should.
And quite to mention, Jalen Waddle in 2024 was on the top 100 list at one point in time, actually twice, 2022, 2023, and 2020 or 2022, 2024, I should say. He was 63rd on the list in 2024, and he was that was in 2024 and in 2022 he was number 63 on that NFL's top 100 list. So I certainly think that Waddle could make the list. Again, it's stats. You got to take the stats out of this whole situation. It's what the players are voting on this, what the players think. So I still think, players have a repetition, around the league, and Waddle's been in the league for a while. And if he doesn't make the top 100 list barely this year, I think he'll make it probably the next season. Because again, I think this offense is going to be more revolved around Jalen Waddle than maybe what some people think. I just think he's a perfect fit for where Bo Nix wants to do and plays to Bo Nix's strength. So it'll be interesting to see exactly. And maybe some Broncos will surprise. I wouldn't be surprised maybe Jaquan McMillan or Riley Moss will make the list next year or something like that. I know they won't this year, but maybe next year they will. So we shall see going forward. Jody, and we've been kind of going through these topics a little bit quicker. I'm going to let you touch up on the Bo Nix video while we have some time. Your thoughts on the Bo Nix video from what you've seen. This is a topic you wanted to talk about. I did not get a chance to see this video, so I'm going to kind of defer to you a little bit. What was your opinion on this video from Bo Nix?
I think you should put to bed any questions with the ankle. I mean, he was moving out there. He was short passes, intermediate passes, deep passes. He took drop backs in the video. The ankle's not taped up. He's in, low top cleats. He has no special boot on or nothing. And he looked like the best Bo Nix I've seen. I mean, he's throwing accurate passes. Footwork looks good. I mean, I know it's against no one, but everything looked well. So if you had any questions about the ankle, I think it was put to rest with the video.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, even without looking at this Bo Nix video, I mean, I have full confidence that he'll be back to close to 100%, if not right there. I think he's already close right now. I mean, he's had enough time, now since that whole ankle injury happened. Now that these things can linger, yes, I get that, but and it's something to monitor. Like, and they'll be careful with Bo, and they have been at this point. Like, they're not going to rush him back, and there's no need to. He already knows this offense very well. Him and Davis Webb have a close relationship. If anything, I think for me, I want Bo Nix to be more in, behind the scenes kind of thing. I want him to get really him and Davis Webb together and really nail down this offense, get on the same page, and just really kind of just be studying this offense more under Davis Webb now. And now Davis Webb taking over and calling plays. That's where I want Bo Nix's focus to be right now. We already know what Bo Nix physically can do. He doesn't have to go out there and prove that. I mean, there's more to Bo Nix's game. Don't get me wrong. And I've said that, and I'll continue to say that. But it's important, especially right now before training camp and before preseason games, to really get, really start studying this offense more, get everything down, get on the same page. Now it's the time to do it. You don't want to get behind on that front. So that's where I want Bo Nix's focus right now, is some of that stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I hope he's working on the footwork. I hope he's working on learning the wrinkles or the different stuff that Davis Webb is going to implement. Because I am one that he's not just a puppet there for Sean Payton. He is actually going to be calling. It's going to be a lot of the same stuff, but he's going to add his own stuff to it. I don't think Sean Payton is going to micromanage as much as people think with it. So I hope he's learning that. Yes, we all know Sean Payton at certain times is going to say we're running this or that or whatever. But all head coaches do that with their OC anyway. So, but I think he's going to give him the autonomy. I'm going to help you with the game plan. We're going to set stuff up, but you run the sequence of plays you want to run and let him grow and learn that way. So, hopefully Bo is, learning that and getting on the same page. And I hope he's getting on the same page with some of his new wide receivers. He's got 2, 3, if you want to count the tight end from last year, 3 new tight ends. He's got a new wide receiver and Jalen Waddle. He's got a new running back and Jonah Coleman. So he's got new players on the offense that he needs to get on the same page with. And I hope that that's what we're working on.
Yeah, some of that kind of homework per se with Bo Nix and this wide receiver room. I definitely think that that you just nailed it. Nailed down, Jody. I should say. Excuse me, I can't really talk right now apparently, but no, I mean I agree 100%. Keith comes in here with a comment, says, "Gentlemen, with the hot weather, who do you expect to come out hot to start the season?"
I'll answer Bo Nix. I've said for a while, I think this ankle injury is going to do Bo Nix wonders in the fact of it won't be one read and run. He's going to have to, and I think it's going to be in the back of his mind for a little bit. He's going to have to force himself to be a more pocket passer, and that is the next step for him. Whether you think he's a top 10 quarterback or you don't, I think that's the next step that cements him into that top 10 quarterback, puts him up there with, the top quarterbacks in this league. We know he can be accurate. I mean, he's the most accurate quarterback. I mean, he had the most accurate season in college football. So we know he can be accurate. So I think working on this footwork and staying in the pocket and some different things with Davis Webb getting plays in sooner and all that, I think he comes out just red hot. And I think he's got a lot to prove this year, I think. I mean, and he's also got a contract that he's wanting to go after. So I think he's got a lot of things, plus not playing in the Super Bowl and that type of thing. And if you go back and watch some different clips from the AFC title game or the Buffalo game, you can just see he knew when it happened and some different things on the sideline. I mean, he knew. So I think that's been motivation all off season for him.
Yeah, I'm going to say J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins, we just said, you have something to prove. I think a lot of these Bronco players do have a lot of things to prove. Bo Nix, it's not just this ankle, but it's this looming contract extension that he's got over his head. Like he's got to continue to prove himself. And again, that's usually the case with all NFL players. Like you're always playing for your next contract and you're always trying to prove yourself out there. Because if once you stop trying to prove yourself, that's when you start losing your job. And so you're always fighting for your job each and every day, each and every snap, each and every play. So I would say, yeah, Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix will get out to a probably slower start just because he's still trying to kind of get back in the groove. You can tell me about it, yeah, training camp, practice, whatever, preseason, but NFL games are a different story and they're a different pace. And so I know Bo Nix has got plenty of games under his belt, but I think he'll get off to a slower start. This is why I'm getting into this. Like I think J.K. Dobbins will be that guy that will get out to a hot start because, yes, they signed J.K. to a 2-year deal, but it's more of a 1-year deal because they can actually move off of J.K. Dobbins after this coming up season. The contract is constructed for more of a 1-year deal. And plus, if you're J.K. Dobbins, they just drafted possibly your replacement if you are not on the field, Jonah Coleman. And so if you don't have motivation, you're J.K. Dobbins. Well, I don't know whenever you're going to get this motivation. You want to get a long-term deal in the NFL, you got a 1-year deal basically to prove it out there. Plus, they just drafted a replacement. Like, you got to go out there and you got to get off to a hot start, and you got to prove that you can play a full season or dang there close to it and be effective. So I think it's J.K. Dobbins because I think out of all these players, he probably has one of the most to prove out there to not only everybody inside the Broncos building, but also to the fans, because there's been a lot of fans that have been harping on him. I'm not saying that I haven't brought these injuries up with J.K. Dobbins in the past, but I'm just saying I think there's a little bit of a different mindset right now with J.K. Like, I think that there's a chance that he does break out a little bit more going through everything he's gone through, and he does really seems like he has something to go out there and prove to. So I'm going to say J.K. Dobbins.
My only pushback to that is we said the same thing last year, that they've drafted his replacement, or they drafted a guy that we thought was going to start in the second round in Harvey, and he put that to bed right away. I mean, he was number 4 or 5 in rushing yards when he got hurt. I mean, he was a top 5 running back last year before he got hurt. So I think his motivation is when he got into that little Twitter beef at the end of the season with the fan, can you stay healthy and stuff. I think that's his motivation. The proving to Denver, as quick as Denver signed him, and you can say, well, he was close to signing with Jacksonville, or they wanted Travis Etienne or whatever. When Denver didn't get Travis Etienne, they pivoted, and that was their second choice, and they went to him right away. And there was nothing. That was their second choice. So Denver wants him here. They know what kind of leader he is. They know what he brings. So, yeah, I think he'll get off to a hot start as well, but I don't think he's worried about the guys behind him, because of when he's on the field, he proved that he's a top 5 running back. His motivation is staying healthy.
I will say Denver wanted him back, yes, to a degree, but I will say they just drafted his replacement, Jonah Coleman, too. Plus, again, they can hit with the way his contract set up is after this season, they can release him and save $6 million if they're done with J.K. Dobbins. It's basically a 1-year deal with J.K. right now. And so, like, if I'm J.K., like, yeah, you can tell me you want me back and this and that and make it sound all good. I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. I got to go out there and prove it, and prove that I can stay on the field, and prove that I can perform at a high level and perform most of the season, if not all season long. And I will say, like, J.K. has the upper hand out of all these running backs in this running back room, because he's done it at a high level. Like you just said, Jody, he was a top 5 running back to start the season. And so he can do it. He's proven that he can do it. It's just the injuries caught up to him eventually. And it was a silly injury that he got hurt on, and it's been a problem for him in the past. I get that. But, like, this, as a player, as J.K. Dobbins, you got to go out there and prove it now. If it's not now, when? You're not getting any younger. And running backs already don't last very long in the league. And so it's this season, or it's like you're probably a backup the rest of your career. And so for JK, it's a big season for him this year. He's got to go out there and prove it. And I think he gets off to a hot start. I think the mindset, it just switches, I think, for J.K. Dobbins this year, knowing all the flack he's gotten for not staying healthy throughout his career.
For me, his mindset, I think, has to be stay healthy, play a full season, and don't worry about what's behind you. You play a full season, that you should trust your skills and what you can do. And if you play a full season, the numbers are going to be there where they're going to want you back again, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We'll be hitting our halftime break here pretty soon. Want to get a couple more comments, and then we will be doing so. Phil says, I've been watching Bo Nix's ankle so much, I am starting to get a little embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, Phil. I mean, it's definitely a concern out there to, like, to everybody because of everything that happened. And so I expect that. I would be a little concerned if you didn't. Keith says, do we stick to the run even if it doesn't start out doesn't start out well to begin a game? Jody.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one thing that Davis Webb is, I think in his mind, he's going to force himself that I've got to stick with the run even when it's not there, and can't just abandon it like Sean Payton will. Do I think it'll be 2 runs and a throw, even when it's not working? No, but it will be there where it's not 15, 20 pass plays in a row or these little bubble screens to implement the run. I don't think that. And I don't think the running game will even be slow because 1, Dobbins, and I think 2, Jonah Coleman. I think if not the start of the season, pretty soon he's going to be your RB2 and he's going to be getting carries and he's going to be getting a lot of carries. So you have 2 guys that want to run in the middle, that can do different things, that are patient runners, where if we're from last year, Harvey proved that that's not him. Maybe that changes, but as of right now, that's not him. So I think with those 2 guys, I don't see it even starting off slow.
Yeah, and I think and if you're the Broncos, you've got to have a run game this year, Keith. I mean, you've got to be able to win a football game offensively in multiple ways, especially because, and I've been on record saying this, and I'll continue to stick to it. I don't think the defense is going to be as good as they were last year. I'm not saying they're not going to be a top 10 unit. I just wouldn't be surprised if they took a little bit of a step back defensively, which being, if that's the case, offensively, you've got to take steps forward in the right direction. Part of that, it's running the dang football and running it effectively and sticking to it when you are running it effectively against teams. Because, again, the Broncos got themselves in trouble. Once Bo Nix went down, their offense was done. It was done. And you've got to, offensively, you've got to stop relying on Bo Nix to do everything. You've got to have a run game. You've got to give him a chance with the run game and to really open up the passing game a little bit more. I get you just got your brand new shiny toy in Jalen Waddle. I get that. I don't care. You've got to run the dang football. Look at what the Seattle Seahawks did to win the Super Bowl. Defense and run the dang football. Wasn't Sam Darnold winning them a Super Bowl? Like, he was a part of it, but he wasn't the reason. You've got to be able to win a football game in multiple ways offensively. That's running the football, and that's passing the football. After J.K. Dobbins went down last year, I'm sorry, opposing defenses were not afraid of Denver's running game.
I will say you were down your starting running back. When you say Bo Nix went out, yes, I agree, but you were down your starting running back, and you were relying on a first-year or rookie running back that we knew well before this game was not ready to carry the bulk of the load. And then you had Jaleel and Tyler, who I don't think either one of them will make the 53 to start the season. So you didn't have good running back play. So I think getting Dobbins back and the addition of Jonah Coleman is going to be huge. And I expect I've said for a while, I expect Dobbins, he's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher. He's going to play 15-plus games this year. He's going to stay healthy. And this is a year, I think, like you said, I probably see the defense maybe taking a small step back, but I see the O taking a giant leap forward. And that's one because of the run game.
Yeah. I will say I do think it's, RJ Harvey not coming out and being ready to go last year. It wasn't just RJ Harvey's fault. I mean, yeah, it is part of it, but it's also on this Broncos front office and just picking the guy. I mean, he was a second-round pick. I mean, and he's now you just took Jonah Coleman. You have a lot of depth in this running back room, but where's RJ Harvey? I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's question marks around that, and it's like you've seen Judkins and you've seen some of these other guys go off last year. but you didn't see RJ Harvey go off when he was given the opportunity. So maybe, hopefully, year 2 will change for RJ Harvey, but we shall see. We do have to hit our halftime break, but we'll definitely have this discussion more after our halftime break. And please enjoy this video from our wonderful sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. Go out there and support Morgan Trinkets. We'll be back in 30 seconds. That was a word from our wonderful sponsor, Morgan Trinkets, Miss Pearl. And I want to throw this comment up as well. This is her next show. Cheyenne looks like July 17th to the 25th at the Depot Museum. Morgan Trinkets, 31st for Frontier Days. And 9 to 5, give or take some days. And then you get an extra 10% off if you mention RMSN, as Keith had said in here. So please go out there and support Miss Pearl, and you use RMSN. You'll get an extra 10% off. Miss Pearl has a lot of wonderful merchandise. Go out there, support Miss Pearl, and make sure to mention RMSN in there to get your discount. Thank you, Miss Pearl, for everything. Appreciate you. We love you, and thank you for everything you do for us. I want to get to a couple more comments. We have the Ron, Commissioner Michael Ronquillo. Good evening, Trevor and Jody, and go Bull Broncos. Good evening, Michael. Great to see you as always, and I hope you're having a wonderful night. I appreciate everything you do for us and all the support you have. And then we had quite a bit of comments to catch up, which is perfectly fine because I really appreciate everybody's comments. He says top rushing running back, top receiving running back, top tight end TDs for a running back. Graham says hot take. Justin Jolie is going to make a difference early on. Jody, your thoughts on this one? From hot take from Graham. It looks like we have hot takes around the Denver Bronco Roundup tonight, as Jody just mentioned one earlier. So, Jody, your thoughts on Justin Jolie here?
His difference early in the season, maybe touchdowns just because of his big body and stuff. I think that's something that Davis Webb is going to do different this year. He's going to get different packages to get guys on the field and, get big body wide receivers out there. I never could understand the tight end we drafted last year from Utah. I could never understand Caleb Lohner, why we, with as weak as our tight end room was, why we couldn't at least get him on the field and, get him some jump balls in the end zone. That's where I think Justin Jolie will make a difference. Plus, he's a converted wide receiver anyway, so he runs great routes. So I think that is something that he's going to be able, that you're going to see from him. So I agree, maybe not catches or yards wise, but you could see touchdowns maybe start the season off.
I will say this, Graham, and I want to ask you this: does this mean Evan Ingram's not on this roster? If this is the hot take, this hot take ends up being true. Because I don't, other than that, it's hard for me to see Justin Jolie really seeing the field consistently. If Evan Ingram's on this roster, you got to remember Davis Webb and Evan Ingram are very close. I do think Evan Ingram is going to get more involved in this team than he was a year ago. Now, will he succeed more than he did a year ago? We'll see. But I do think that there are plans for Evan Ingram, and maybe Evan Ingram ends up getting cut. We come around training camp and stuff like that. I still wouldn't rule that out 100%. Like maybe Evan Ingram isn't making this roster. And so, Graham, it's a hot take, but maybe it's not. We'll see. I just don't see Justin Jolie and Evan Ingram, really sharing the field too much together. I think if Evan Ingram's on this roster, Justin Jolie will have to wait until, probably year 2 of his career to really take off once Evan Ingram's off this roster. But if Evan Ingram's off this roster, you never know. Also, Graham, another one to mention is Dallin Bentley. He's an underrated name to look out for. He's checks a lot of boxes from a film standpoint.
I know you asked Graham, but in my opinion, I don't see any way Ingram's not on this roster unless he gets hurt or something. I think, and I've said it for a while, I think Ingram has a bounce back, big type year. I think the tight ends are going to get involved a lot this year. I think that's something Davis Webb is going to do. He's going to get these tight ends involved. And I think the guy you might see on the field less this year is Adam Troutman. I mean, yeah, I know he can block and different things, but I think at some point Sean Payton is going to realize if this is going to be an explosive offense, you got to get explosive players on the field, and that's not Adam Troutman. So, I think Ingram has a big year, and I expect both rookies to have impacts this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this, like, even if Denver had to take some of that money on from Evan Ingram, having to release him, because they're not saving a ton if they release him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's off this roster. I'm just saying, because if Justin Jolie comes into training camp and he just outperforms Evan Ingram, why do you need Evan Ingram on this roster? You don't. So all depends on what happens at training camp. It's a training camp battle that I'm watching. I don't think it's a done deal, slam dunk that Evan Ingram is on this roster, even with Davis Webb connection. I get that, but it's not a slam dunk for me, especially with the production that Evan Ingram showed last year.
And I will say, I mean, you got to put Evan Ingram in context. I mean, he had 50 catches, almost 500 yards. That's the best we've seen from a tight end since probably Julius Thomas. And if you listen to some guys, I think Denver used him wrong. He did a lot of, curls, comeback, different type of routes where he wins off the line of scrimmage and then DBs catch up to him, linebackers, whoever's covering him. Where if they use him more like they did in the Washington game where you get the ball when he's moving and he's got a little bit of separation, he's got the speed. And I think that is something that Davis Webb will do this year. But I also have put a 53 together, and I have 5 tight ends making the 53 if you want to count Nate Atkins as a tight end. So I think he'll be around, and Denver's in a great position cap-wise. There's no reason just to cut a guy to save $6 million when you're 30-some million under the cap. It's not like you need the money, so I think he'll be here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those camp battles that, like, nobody's really talked about yet. They monitor for sure, especially with Justin Jolie. Like, if I'm Evan Ingram, I'm like, man, maybe my job's on the line with this pick, because Justin Jolie's not the best blocker in the world, but he's a lot like Evan Ingram. I mean, if you think about it, so it's like I could see it. I mean, I could definitely see it. I agree with you, Jody. I do think that there's going to be a decent amount of tight ends that will make this roster. Again, I'm a big Dallin Bentley guy. He's one of my favorite draft picks from this past year's draft class. He's a name to watch. Freakishly athletic too. I think that he might be one of those guys that Bronco fans fall in love with as time goes on. Keith says, TBH, the Broncos pivoted back to their own roster almost all offseason, not just JK. Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Which I'm fine with, because just to say you're going to sign a guy, I don't really – I didn't really need that. I think now we can sit and argue, could you have upgraded over Alex Singleton or whatever, but I probably on the wrong side of what people think, but Alex Singleton he's a leader. What he came back from last year, he makes big plays just because when we know this, he's not the greatest in coverage, but everything else that he brings, I don't really think that there was just a massive upgrade sitting out there that you passed over to keep one of your own. So that's been my argument. Just to say you're going to sign a big name guy to sign him, why?
I mean, I will say I don't think Denver was ever going to like make a big splash per se. Or multiple huge splashes. I think if they could have like definitely cleared enough cap space and like pivoting like with different money and moving money around, which they did move a little bit of money around this past offseason. But they could have certainly done it more if they felt like there was a big move to be made. They were in on some guys too. That's the thing. We don't hear about what happened behind the scenes. Like, we don't hear about like really was Jalen Waddle their plan A. Like, he was part of their plan, but like I would love to be a fly on the wall and be like, was Jalen Waddle your plan A going into the offseason? Like, how much did your plan change as time went on, as different teams made different moves? I mean, that's something we don't hear about. So it'd be an interesting. I mean, I think one thing, Keith, and I share this like opinion with you. Like, I'm concerned about just running it all back, basically. Without you add Jalen Waddle and your draft picks, other than that, you pretty much ran it back, especially at inside linebacker, especially on the defensive line. Your running backs. I mean, yes, Jonah Coleman, I get that, but I mean, like again, if J.K. Dobbins isn't healthy, are you back to square one like you were last year? Who knows? I mean, you're really relying upon a lot of in-house development with RJ Harvey. You got to make sure you hit on Jonah Coleman. So we'll see. But I mean, were the Broncos too conservative this last offseason? Time will tell. I think we'll get our answer as the season goes on. But definitely, I can see your point with all this. Miss Pearl says, hi, all. I have been busy getting ready for Cheyenne, and one of my corgis, Sassy, has been sick. Crazy week. I'm so sorry for Miss Pearl. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, and thank you for taking time out of your night to join us here. Keith being funny in the chat, of course. Phil says, I think it's possible that Waddle is going to start hot mainly because Peyton wants to prove that he was right in getting him. Jody, do you see this mindset with Waddle, getting Waddle involved early?
Yeah. But I think a lot of guys are going to get not just Waddle, because I've said for a while, I think you see Denver go back to what you've seen in the second half of Bo Nix's rookie year, where they're throwing more deep shots and they're doing different things. I mean, you look at the second half of that first of his rookie year to basically all last year, to me, it's like a different offense. Mm-hmm. So I expect that is what I expect mainly all year. So, but yeah, I think Waddle will be the one that they want to showcase right away and that type of thing. So,
yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if like him and Bo Nix, like how much are they on the same page together week one. That'll be my only question mark there. I will say as the season goes on, definitely Phil, you're right. I mean, they want to show that Waddle was worth giving up a first round pick for. If Jalen Waddle only puts up 700-800 yards, what was he? And again, yards is not everything. And that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying like they want to, I think Waddle will definitely get 1,000 yards or over. And they want to get him the ball as much as possible. And then that's the case with all these teams. Like you want to give your number 1A, 1B wide receiver the ball as much as possible and put the ball in their hands. And Waddle, I think, will fit this offense though, like just perfectly. I think that he's a good fit for this offense, and I think he'll be successful.
You asked about being a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to know is, it sounded like they tried to get Waddle before the trade deadline. What was offered then, and was it more or less than what they got him for now? And if it's more, do they regret not taking the lesser deal at the time? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Miami was definitely wanting more at the time, and I think that Denver was also a little conservative, giving up a first-round pick at the time. I mean, you think about the timing of the trade. If they would have traded for Waddle at the deadline, okay, more than halfway through the season, what if the season goes south? Now you don't have a first-round pick. So you got to, if you're Denver, you got to. I think they took the more conservative route there, and I think Miami's price point was different from at the deadline to where at the end of the season with Waddle, because I mean at the middle of the season they still had 2 on the roster. They still had Tyreek Hill on the roster. Mike McDaniel was still your head coach. Maybe Chris Greer, their GM, was gone at the time. I can't remember. I think he was gone at the time. I think they had already fired him. But and then fast forward to like towards the end of the season, they made all these changes. Different new GM, new head coach in place, new vision. Tyreek Hill's gone, Tua's gone, Mike McDaniel's gone. So it's like,
yeah, I think when you got rid of Tua, you had to make some of these choices because you were going to be cap strapped.
Yeah. Well, and they're heading towards a rebuild. Doesn't make sense to keep Jalen Waddle. I mean, 27? I mean, is his value going to get that much better? I mean, he kind of had to pivot and move on and start that rebuild process. Like you said, with all the cap they had going on, the situation they're in right now. Keith says, hot take, RJ Harvey will be a surprise to start the season. Plenty of reasons to be ready and motivated in year 2. Yeah. Let's hope.
Can I give a hot take on this?
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to happen but I could kind of see this after the Audric Estime thing. I know one's a fifth and one's a second round pick. But if Harvey comes out and he is just kind of blah again, and he's not really running very well, could you see where they could cut Harvey and they want to keep him McLaughlin or Tyler Bidet? I mean, he loves him some Tyler Bidet for whatever reason. And it sounds like Jaleel McLaughlin has bulked up a little bit. So,
Yeah.
If he just comes out and is just blah, could you see that be a pretty quick move on? I mean, they did it with Estime. I know one was a second, one was a fifth, but he kind of proved that he's not afraid to move on pretty quickly, even when you're had really garbage in the running room. He moved on probably from their best running back.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll give RJ Harvey more time because he's like a second round pick. Well, Estime was a fifth round pick. I mean, you were able to. That was an easier pill to swallow. Being a day 3 pick, you just kind of took a chance on the guy. It just didn't work out. But RJ Harvey being a second round pick, I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow because of what you missed out on talent wise in the second round and whatnot. I think they'll give RJ Harvey another year. I would say beginning of year 3 and like in the training camp and stuff like that. And if he hasn't panned out up to that point, I think you start like, hey, yeah, he could be a guy they end up moving on from, especially if Jonah Coleman takes off or maybe J.K. Dobbins does break out and plays a full season and maybe they bring him back. Who knows? But I think it's a little too early for them to move on from RJ Harvey and just because, like, again, he was a second round pick and it's a premium pick. I mean, that's top 100 pick that you use on RJ Harvey. I think they'll give him more time.
And I agree. I probably don't see it happening, but if it did, it's not something that I would be over surprised about. I mean, yeah, Martin says 12 TDs, and I agree with that. But other than maybe 1 or 2 of those, how many of those were just electric plays, or how many of those were, like against Cincinnati when it's a little dump pass and he's wide open in the end zone, or these little plays right down on the goal line that he gets in? I mean, he had a pretty good one pretty big one against Dallas, and I think he had that nice reception against Houston. But what are the explosive touchdowns that you're like, yeah, he did that, or it was just he was wide open and it just happened to be there?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely more improvement from RJ Harvey, and I mean, with Jonah Coleman being involved in that backfield now, I think it puts a couple of those running backs definitely on notice. I would say all of them on notice. Adding another running back in the room, and that's more competition for you and could take away your playing time. So definitely.
Can I ask a question before you read that based off of last year's draft?
Yeah.
Who needs to take a bigger leap this year, Jahdae Barron or RJ Harvey?
Oh, Jahdae Barron. Found a year of Moss and McMillan. I mean, you'll probably bring back one of Moss and McMillan, but you're not bringing back both. It's got to be Jahdae Barron, in my opinion. That's a good question.
Jahdae has kind of a blah season again. Could you see a way that they bring Moss and McMillan back?
No, because I think it'll cost too much in their secondary. I mean, then you're probably moving off of Brandon Jones. I mean, you probably can't bring back everybody from a cap perspective because you got Bo Nix extension coming up. That's going to be pricey. And what Moss is going to make is, I think, is in the $20 million a year range. And like McMillan, I think he's 15, 16 million. I mean, it's just hard to imagine bringing back all those guys. And what does it say about Denver's draft process if Jahdae Barron's a bust? I mean, you took him in the first round over, several guys you could have had there, or you could have traded back, got more draft capital. So
when you had no starting running back or tight end, or
right, yeah. So I think Jahdae Barron pressure's on this year. If it's not this year, when is it? I mean, you got guys in their final year of their contracts, and Denver's probably not bringing back both Moss and McMillan. So they got to get him involved and got to get him out there on the field. And I think Jahdae Barron will be just fine, but he just needs the playing time, and it'll take him some time to get there. Martin says, all our running backs have questions. Can JK stay healthy? If not, can RJ improve and be a 3-down back? And what do we really have in Coleman for a Super Bowl contender? That's too many questions, in my opinion. Martin kind of coming in here, being a little harsh on the Broncos running backs, but he's right there, Jody. I think Martin, you hit the nail on the head there as well. a lot of questions for sure at running back, and it's something where we're going to have to get, the answers to that throughout the season, I think.
Yeah, I agree. The Dobbins one is probably the least question for me. I mean, when he's on the field, he's an impact player, and we know that. It's can he stay healthy, and some of that is just bad luck, but it is what it is. He's got to prove that he can overcome that. So,
Yeah.
The other two, yeah, you got a rookie, so I expect good things from Jonah Coleman, but you don't know. I mean, we all said the same thing about RJ Harvey last year, and it didn't really pan out like we thought as a runner. So, he's the one with the most question marks, in my opinion, RJ Harvey.
Yeah. I will say stability in the running back room is, as a whole, is still a question mark, and again, it'll have to be answered this year. The Broncos have the depth, I think, but depth doesn't always mean that you have all the answers. So, Martin, I think you raised definitely some, very valid points in the running back room, and it's one of my questions for this offense as well. Got to be able to run the football effectively if you're going to win a Super Bowl. That's just what it is. Keith says Ingram wasn't the first read, and Bo Nix rarely got to a third progression in his progression before running. Keith says, who was your biggest surprise from last year? Who's your choice for this year?
Oh, I'll say my biggest surprise from last year, probably Justin Strnad. I mean, he played himself into a starting linebacker whether they didn't have to move on from Draymond or from Greenlaw. Yeah, it wasn't a good fit, and there was some behind-the-scenes stuff, but they didn't have to move on from that. They could have – I mean, you could have sat down and you could have worked some of that out, and they moved on pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And he was like one of the first guys they re-signed in the offseason. So I would say him from where he was in Buffalo when we were saying – middle linebacker is the most important thing that they have to address this offseason, and Greenlaw was one of their first free agent signings to basically Strnad doing a 180 from that Buffalo game to the following Buffalo game for me. And then this year, I think the guy for me is Pat Bryant. I think Pat Bryant pushes and he gets some of those WR2 snaps, and at the end of the season, he's going to make it where Denver has a choice. Do we want to pay two wide receivers big-time money, or are we in a position where Pat Bryant can be wide receiver number 2 on this team and we can move off of Sutton?
Yeah, I mean, for me, biggest surprise was Jaquan McMillan. I did not expect him to have the breakout season he did a year ago. I don't think the Broncos did either. I think that's why – part of the reason why you have Jahdae Barron and you take him in the first round there when they did. I think that kind of did play with the plans the Broncos had. And then you bring him back, Jaquan McMillan. Luckily he was an RFA, not a UFA. So you're able to, it's a lot easier to bring him back. But Jaquan McMillan, for me, surprise, was a little bit of a surprise last year. Did not expect him to break out the way he did. They had a fantastic season. And choice this year, ooh, that's a good one. I mean, yeah, I'm going to say Justin Strnad this year. I will say, I think you say surprise. I think he will only get better. And I say that because he's getting more of an elevated role now. He wants to be a star or wants to be a starter. He's going to get a chance to be a starter kind of money for an inside linebacker. I think he'll take that and run. So Justin Strnad for me will be the biggest surprise this year. And again, he's already had good seasons, but I think he'll only get better, getting more playing time and being the guy.
And I will say Denver has put a lot of faith in him with not really addressing middle linebacker at all in the offseason, and really you drafted one linebacker as the final guy in the draft. So, I mean, you've put a lot of faith that this is your job.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You wanted it. It's yours. So we're giving it to you. I mean, they've put all the faith in the world. I mean, I think when the 53 ultimately comes out, they probably get someone from another roster just because it's so thin there. But they have handed him the keys. Just if you just look at from where they were this time last year, signing Greenlaw, to moving on from him and replacing Greenlaw with Sternad.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely think that shows their commitment to Justin Sternad and even Alex Singleton too. And I mean, a lot of Broncos fans were not wanting Alex Singleton back. And I mean, I can see both sides for sure.
But I
Phil
think
comes in.
there's some other things with Singleton leadership and him coming back from the cancer the way he did, as quickly as he did, and I'll die on this hill. If he doesn't make that tackle against Buffalo and they score and it's 17-3, you probably get rolled at home. So, I mean, that was a game changer. And, it went from 17-3 to 10-7. So, I mean, that's a huge change in the game. So,
yeah. And I will say, too, I think a big reason why Alex Singleton's in Denver still is Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph values Alex Singleton's leadership, green dot ability tremendously. And so I think if Vance Joseph's not in Denver and it's another DC, I don't think Alex Singleton's back. That's how much of a difference Vance Joseph does bring to this table, bring to the table as well. Phil comes in and says, what is one surprise trade that we do? 100 stars. Thank you, Phil. Great question. Love seeing it. And again, big shout out to everybody in the comments tonight. You all been rocking it, and we love it on this great Saturday night. Jody, I'll let you answer this. One surprise trade that you could see happening for the Broncos. And thank you, Phil, for the stars. Really appreciate you.
I have like three guys in mind, but two different positions. I think Franklin or Mims. If Pat Bryant takes that next leap, and you're more Mims, I guess, than Franklin, but Mims would be on the offensive side, because if Bryant takes that next leap, is Mims somebody you're going to want to sign? Mm-hmm. And then on the defensive side, if Jahdae Barron takes that next step, I could potentially see you trying to trade Riley Moss before you lose him for nothing. I mean, you're going to get comp picks, but trade him at the deadline and get something out of him, a premium pick.
Yeah.
Especially if he loses that, because or Jaquan, depending on if Jahdae takes that next step and one of those guys loses their starting spot, or is, it's 50-50 playing time, one of those guys I could see, whoever it is getting traded, because I don't think they care about a 6th round comp pick. That's a premium draft pick you probably can get for him now. You probably could get a 2 for Riley Moss right now, and you probably get the same for Jaquan. So if Jahdae Barron really pushes and, leaps over one of them, I could see one of those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like probably likely Phil would be players trading, like Broncos trading players away. This team hasn't been overly active at the deadline, really. Like you think that, they could have acquired Breece Hall at the trade deadline, last year, and maybe they should have. It's like, yeah, this is not how this front office operates. They just don't. They value draft picks, and they're going to have to continue to as this roster gets more expensive. And so I think you'll like some of these like Jalen Waddle kind of deals, like where they trade first round picks. I think unfortunately you're going to see that the chances of that happening kind of get slimmer as time goes on, as this roster gets more expensive, as Bo Nix gets more expensive. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, is it the wide receiver room? I think it's got to be somebody in the secondary. I'm going to say Riley Moss. I think that if you're, as good as Riley Moss is, you probably he's going to be the most expensive out of him and Jaquan McMillan. I mean, he'll get $20 million a year minimum, and so
because someone's going to overpay him, like JFM got overpaid.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be a number one cornerback, whether he is that or not.
Right,
someone's going to pay him like one.
Right, and so I mean, just noting that, like, you want to wait to get a comp pick back from him, or is it time to move on from him now? Maybe Chris Abrams-Drain steps into that role. Maybe you have depth in that secondary at cornerback. And maybe, Jahdae Barron does shock people. But Ryan Moss, for me, would be, and as you say, surprise, Phil, I think they get a 3rd round pick back for Ryan Moss. Because if you think about it, if you're a team and you're interested in Ryan Moss, you get Ryan Moss and you get him in your building now, So then it definitely increases your chances of extending him long term. If you wait until he hits free agency, it slims down your chances of signing Riley Moss because now you have more competition. But if you trade for Riley Moss to get him in your building sooner, it ups the chances of you signing him to a long term deal. So I think a team, hey, if your team out there, aggressively pursuing Riley Moss, and I haven't heard anything, so I'm not saying it like that. But if they do end up trading Riley Moss, if your team being aggressive and want to go out there and get Moss, you trade for him now. I think they get a third round pick at least for Riley Moss, and maybe like a third and a fifth, and then they save some money. And Jody Barron steps in that role. Chris Abrams-Drain steps into that role. So I would say Riley Moss, Phil. He comes in here, says, who is Drew Sanders? Who is Jonah Ellis for the Denver Broncos?
Before I answer that, Marvin says it scares him if we seen what Denver was when Riley Moss wasn't on the field. I will say that was 2 years ago when we didn't have Jody Barron. So for me, that's one thing. And I will also say I think they admitted right away that they made a mistake playing the cornerback we got from Pittsburgh over Chris Abrams-Drain.
Levi Wallace.
I think they admitted that right away by, they sent him packing after that Cleveland game when he just got destroyed by Jerry Jeudy. So there's some changes there that don't scare me as well. Plus, if Jaquan McMillan keeps balling like he is, I mean, that solves a lot of problems too in your slot and different things. So,
yeah. And then Keith asks, who is Drew Sanders and who is Jonah Ellis for the Denver Broncos? Drew Sanders, who is Drew Sanders? Probably not on this roster. I don't know if he makes the 53-man roster, Keith. He might not have made it if he was healthy last year. I mean,
I don't think any of us can answer that because he's never played.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just don't know if he makes this roster at all, really. Like, if you're the Broncos, you can't plan on that. I mean, if he makes it, great. And you're hoping he does. I mean, you really do because he was the top 100 pick a couple of years ago. But
I think if you're a Drew Sanders fan, you're probably hoping that Jonathan Cooper would. And I'm pretty sure Jonathan Cooper probably doesn't start on the 53 to start the season. So that's probably good for Drew Sanders.
And I think Jonah Ellis, who is Jonah Ellis? I think Jonah Ellis and Q Robinson will battle it out if Jonathan Cooper is gone. If they release Jonathan Cooper, which, again, have not heard anything yet, we let this thing play out. But if Jonathan Cooper's off this roster, Jonah Ellis and Q Robinson will be primed for taking over that role. And that's why I don't think that they go out and sign anybody, because I think there's a chance Jonah Ellis starts on another team. I really do believe that. And if Jonathan Cooper's on this team, it could very well be Jonah Ellis. I mean, heck, he played last year for, better than Cooper at times. So especially in the run defense, I mean, he was able to solidify the edge, there for a while, better than Jonathan Cooper. So we'll see. I think Jonah Ellis has a brighter future with the Broncos than Drew Sanders at this point, but hoping Drew Sanders, pulls through and is able to make the 53, but we'll see.
And I will say, look who was on the field when Drake May ran for whatever that was, 10 yards and got the first down on the last play or whatever. That was Jonah Ellis. Now, did he stop him? No, but, I mean, you got a lot of faith in Jonah Ellis. I mean, Jonathan Cooper was standing on the sidelines when that play happened. So
exactly.
I think that tells you what they think of him. And now Denver wanted to try to say, well, it's just a rotation. That's ridiculous. If the rotation had Pat Surtain not being in, he's checking himself in. So that I didn't agree with that. Jonah Ellis was out there for a reason. So
yeah. Martin comes in here, says, why I tried to save money with Moss for a third rounder, the security of having him on our team while trying to make a Super Bowl run is more valuable to me. I mean,
for me, it's not really trying to save money. It's because I would rather, I guess for me personally, if you're going to keep Moss and at the end of the season you win a Super Bowl and you lose Moss for nothing, then it's probably worth it. But I'm just saying, get something from Moss now because you're going to have to pay him big time money to keep him. So if you decide that you're going to sign Jaquan and you let Moss walk, a comp pick really is not worth it unless you get a Super Bowl. Then I'm fine with that, because then you've said you've went all in for that ring and you're willing to lose guys, maybe one or two guys for nothing for that one season, kind of like in 15.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Martin, I agree with you, and I could definitely see your point, but I would say it's if Jody Barron and Chris Abrams-Drain, if these guys step up and they can play close to what Riley Moss provides his team, if you're the Broncos, you got to at least think about it, and I'm sure they have. I don't know what teams value, where teams value Riley Moss around the league right now, but I would say if you can get a third and a fifth round pick for Riley Moss, now gives you more assets to make other moves, or hey, we can readdress secondary later on. But again, it's a big if. If Jody Barrett and Chris Abrams-Drain don't step up, I can 100% understand keeping Riley Moss around because he's proven what he can do on the field on the other side of PS2. And that's pivotal because PS2 is going to take one half side of the field away. But meanwhile, whoever's on the other side of PS2, they're going to get targeted. You already know it. So it doesn't matter who it is. They got to be ready to step up and they got to be ready to do their job at a high level. And if not, then it's going to be a long day for this defense. And these other offenses are going to be able to move the football down the field against this defense. So I understand your point, Martin, 100%. But I'm just saying it's a big if. You have other guys step up, and you can get some more draft capital back for Riley Moss. Because again, you're not going to be able to pay McMillan or Moss and Moss at the same time. I should say. I just don't think they'll be able to do that financially long term. So.
And I will say this: I heard someone break this down a while back that once you pay a quarterback, and if they project out, Bo Nix gets $50+ million, and he's a top 5 to 8 paid quarterback, you want 25. That they estimated you want 25 to 33% of both sides of the ball to be on rookie contracts, and currently Denver has right now they have one guy. Well, if you talk starters, they have one guy, two guys, Moss as well. Moss and if Odie or Savion Jones start there that are on rookie deals. You have you got too many guys that you're paying. You don't have enough guys on rookie deals. You've got to get guys on rookie deals. That's going to be the huge problem. And if you say Malcolm Roach starts, you have one guy on a rookie contract on your starting defense. That's where the problem is going to come in if Bo Nix gets $50+ million a year.
Yep, exactly. And then you got questions with Cortland Sutton. Will Cortland Sutton be around with Jalen Waddle's contract getting more expensive? Like it's all puzzle piece that you're trying to put together and adjust each and every season and offseason that you go through. So we'll see. We'll see what the Broncos do right now. A lot of questions going around about this team, but I think this team's pretty set in stone. We'll see about the whole Riley Moss situation if there's any movement. Usually this team likes to have a contract extensions done. So it's a little surprising that they don't have anything done with, Jaquan McMillan or Riley Moss yet when they're going into the final years of their deal. But if they do, if Jaquan McMillan or Riley Moss agree to a deal, then it does tip the Denver's hand a little bit, and you see them move on from the other guy. We'll see. One last question.
Are you surprised that I know he was a restricted free agent, but are you surprised someone didn't make a big deal to, offer Jaquan McMillan a sizable deal where they forced Denver's hand? Like it's now or never with this guy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised that didn't happen with the lack of cornerbacks and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially at a premium position. I don't know that teams were gonna overly bid. I mean, way overpay for Jaquan McMillan though, and what was it, second round tender they had on him. So it's yeah, I mean, I think if you're a team interested in Jaquan McMillan, maybe you just take that chance that he's going to be a UDFA, and then you don't give up a second round pick, and then you just pay him. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, surprise. I mean, I think there was interest. I just don't think there was enough when you're talking about attaching a second round pick onto him. I mean, he's a really worth a second round pick. I mean, it's something that you got to keep in mind. So, I mean, there was definitely interest, but if Denver didn't put that second round tender on him, then I don't know that Jaquan McMillan would be here in Denver right now. So, but I mean, since we turned the show into kind of a mailbag bag show towards the end, So we kind of answered maybe where the Broncos contention window was. And again, appreciate everybody throwing their comments out there. Jody, we'll just touch on this real quickly and then we'll get out of here. But where's the Broncos' current contention window at? I mean, and we just talked about contracts and stuff like that. With Riley Moss, Quan McMillan, all these other guys. Is it this year the year, or does this team have a contention window for 3 to 4, next couple seasons or are they all in this year? Where's the Broncos' current contention window right now?
I think they're all in this year. I think there's some questions. Can this offense, if you have to lose some guys on defense because you're paying Bo Nix big, let me back up. I think the next 2 years, if Bo Nix takes a Pat Surtain-like deal where he signs it, but it doesn't go into effect till his rookie deal is over. If it's one that he signs and it goes into effect next year, then it's all in this year. And it could be going forward if what you lose on defense, you gain on offense because Bo Nix he's taken that leap and he can carry this team. And it's went from, and I just use like the Broncos winning 13. They're scoring 40 points and leading the league in scoring, and their defense was garbage, and they had to pivot. And now the defense was carrying them. Can Bo Nix do that with this where whatever Denver gave up 20 points a game, now they're giving up 25 points a game? Can you still be an elite team because of that? If Bo Nix takes that next step, then your window is open for a while. If it's not, and he has to, and it's like what you've seen this year, it may be only open for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good 3-year window, but like you just touched on, Jody, and you mentioned it earlier, this team's got to draft and develop at a high level. I mean, you're going to have to pay guys continuously going forward. I mean, there's no going out there and having a spending spree like it was year one when Sean Payton came to Denver. I mean, it's really like now you got to nail these draft picks. I mean, you can't afford to, swing and miss on Jahadae Barron. You really can't afford to miss on RJ Harvey in the second round. You've got to hit on these draft picks. You can get these guys on rookie scale contracts. Yeah, you can move money around. I get that, but you can only do so much. It's a cap league at the end of the day. You've got to be able to hit on these draft picks going forward, and that's what's going to be the mainstay for this team. You look at the Chiefs; they've done it for years, and then until they didn't, and then now you're starting to see the drop off for the Kansas City Chiefs. So Broncos just got to take that kind of Kansas City Chiefs mindset and that model when they won all those years of being in contention. Whether it was a Super Bowl, winning Super Bowls, or AFC Championship game for multiple seasons, got to draft and develop at a high level. And once you stop doing that, that's when you're going to start, being in trouble roster-wise.
And there are some question marks, like you said. RJ Harvey would be a big one for me.
Yeah.
Pat Bryant would be a big one for me.
Yeah.
Like Troy Franklin, that's another draft pick. That's just on your offensive. Your 2 tight ends you drafted this year, those are draft picks. And then huge ones for me, Tyler Odom and Savion Jones.
Mm-hmm.
If both of those don't pan out, those 2 guys plus Jahdae Barron, that's 3 guys on defense that you've got to have pan out. Or, those were top round 3 picks the last 2 years. So those are guys that have to pan out.
Yeah, 100% agree. We'll see how time, what ends up happening over time, and draft and develop. That's the process. But Jody, process. This show was a great process. We did a great job tonight on the show. I appreciate everybody out there in the comments for throwing your questions out there. Comments. We try to get to everybody. Jody, I want to get to your final thoughts before we head out tonight. Thank you for another great show. I mean, the great co-host that you are. And I know Keith was out there watching. Keith, just know we miss you, and hopefully to have you back on the show here relatively soon. But Jody, your final thoughts.
I'll just add one other thing on the draft picks. You hear Sean McVay say F them picks. It's easy to say that when you have a top 2 quarterback and he's at the twilight of his career. I mean, we've seen it in Denver 97, 98. They went all in to get Elway 2 rings, and you've seen what happened after that happened. So Denver, this team is not in a position where they can just say, in my opinion, F those picks, because you don't have a quarterback that we know yet that can throw this whole team on his back and go score 30 some points every game. So it's, to me, that's totally different. Other than that, I'm excited for football season to start. I'm ready for training camp to get here. Sucks for the people that wanted to get tickets. It sounded like they sold out immediately. So be interesting or wild to see how many people try to sell them for more than they paid for.
Right.
And then I'm glad we got that video of Bo Nix. I'm glad. I hope that puts a lot to bed. But I also hope that Sean Payton and this whole team, just because they think he may be back, there's no need to rush him. Don't over push him. There's no need for it. Give him plenty of time off and make sure he is truly 100% when you go to Arrowhead on Monday night.
Absolutely. And I want to shout this out too real quick because Keith makes a great point. Shout out to Biggie Bronco as well, going through some of the health issues right now. Biggie, whenever you get a chance to watch, my friend, just know our thoughts and prayers are continuously with you, and hopefully everything is looking up health-wise for you. Biggie's a big supporter of our show, but definitely wanted to shout that out. And Biggie for everything he's done for us. And again, the health issues, Biggie, we're here to support you. Anything you need, please feel free to reach out. And thank you for all you do. You're a big part of our community, and we really appreciate you. My final thoughts before we end the show. Great show, Jody. Appreciated the discussion. Again, I know we went into overtime a little bit tonight, but we didn't have a show last weekend, so appreciate everybody joining in now. Trying to get our ads out there so everybody knows when we're going live. Every Saturday going forward, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. You can catch the Juice Football Talk Show as well, 8 p.m. Mountain Time on every Tuesday. Me, Glenn Ashley, and Kenny Kirkpatrick talk all things football. NFL football, college football, whatever questions you have, make sure to go over there to that show and check that show out as well. We're continuing to add more shows on the RMSN here, and never know what other shows we may have going forward. But make sure you continue to like, share, and subscribe. Share us out there to all football fans, and so we can reach more football fans just like you. But Victory Lap comes in here and says, "Yo." Last comment at the end of the night, but appreciate everybody out there, all of our fans out there.
I'll add one other thing real quick on while you were talking shows. The midweek show, it hadn't gone away. Keith's just in a big move, and that will come back as soon as that all gets settled. So that hasn't went away. Just for people wondering, that will be back, and expect more shows as the season starts. I mean, we're gonna have postseason or post-game shows. We're probably going to have pre-game shows. Yeah. So we got a lot of shows coming up as this season starts, and as stuff breaks in training camp, there will be shows. So it's just kind of a slow time, and letting Keith get through what he needs to get through. And once he gets settled in, we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely. And we will make sure to announce and put together a schedule as soon as we finalize everything going into the season of all the shows we have lined up, and then whatever else we end up adding on to that as well. So make sure you also have your notifications on to RMSN Facebook page and the Denver Bronco Roundup Facebook page, because we'll continue to post updates on there as well. And again, have a full schedule for everybody out there as well, so everybody knows when we're going live. We're going to be much better about that going forward throughout the season. So make sure to keep your notifications on for that. Big thing here as well. Martin, Biggie needs a lot of prayers. He had surgery and they had to close him up because it had spread everywhere. Very sad. I mean, Biggie's again big pivotal role in what we do here and big part of our community. So thank you, Martin, for letting us know and for updating us. Biggie will continue to be in our prayers, and we'll continue to mention it each and every show. We love Biggie Bronco, and we love all of our fans out there, and we just know we appreciate you all, and you are all why we do this. And so thank you to everybody for joining the show tonight. We'll see everybody Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time for the Juice Football Talk Show. Make sure to go out there and check that show out as well. But for me, for Jody Moncrief, we're going to sign off tonight, and we'll see everybody next Saturday, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, go Broncos.